Victor Wembanyama this, Victor Wembanyama that. It's impossible to miss the hype generated by the brilliant French boy who took the G League Ignite by storm. This alien, as described by the king himself, is seriously good, but he's also attracted interest from the finals MVP, Steph Curry. In today's video, we'll take a look at what Steph had to say about this generational talent and whether the NBA is ready for him. Starting with Steph's comments on Wembanyama. It's easy to spot generational talent once it's in front of you, but the scouts who have been tailing Victor believe he's been generational since they picked up on him for the first time. In fact, he was up against Scoot Henderson, the other generational talent, and these two are already being hailed as the first two picks of next year's NBA draft, with Wembanyama leading the pack. We know he can be crazy good because the potential is there, but he's also been impressing the big names. Steph Curry was asked after the Warriors' practice on Thursday if he'd seen the 18-year-old in action, and the MVP called the Frenchman a cheat code. Well, that's certainly one way of putting it. He explained how the boy is solid, and he's like a 2K creative player, and how every single point guard would want to be 7 foot, and he is, so that's a huge bonus already. Curry's spot on, by the way. If you were to create a perfect NBA talent in a lab, it wouldn't be much different than Wembanyama. Pundits and analysts alike say big things about the hyped-up talents, and they're usually hyping up players who are good, but not all that. But when the likes of Steph and LeBron are raving about someone, you know they're going to be really good. Steph loved watching the youngster in action, and why wouldn't he? This boy is 7 foot, and he's draining three-pointers with ease. He's copying Steph's whole flow, and has the one thing he doesn't have: that height. Moving on, Steph's not the only one jumping on the Wembanyama hype train. If it wasn't enough having the current best player in the world singing your praises, it got even better for the French teenager because some other big names in the NBA also spoke out. LeBron explained how the NBA world has been in search of unicorns. Well, he's certainly not any less, but added that Wembanyama isn't a unicorn, he's an alien. James said that no one's ever seen someone as tall as Wembanyama, but also as fluid and graceful as he is on the floor. That's just about right, isn't it? Giannis also chimed in and explained how by 2045, everyone in the NBA universe will be looking like Wembanyama. The Greek freak continued his praises by saying that the boy has got a chance to be one of the best ever to play the game. That's massive, but of course, Vic would know he's got a long way to go before all that actually happens. KD was also full of admiration for this unique talent and said that this type of talent puts a smile on your face. And he's excited to see him come into the league, and he's excited about how everything will turn out with Victor. You're just like us, KD. And Rudy Gobert also chimed in for his fellow countrymen, but of course, he'd already known about his potential, having known Wembanyama since he was 13. He believes there isn't any comparison available for Victor. Next, how does Wembanyama feel about it all? What do you do when you've got some of the greatest players of all time going all out in admiration about you? Well, we don't know because we've never had that experience, so let's just take a look at how Victor reacted to this glorious reception. Wembanyama explained how all of this has been an honor for him, and it's great to have the greats talking about him like that. But at the same time, the 7'3" monster believes that all these comments change nothing because he hasn't done anything yet. Smart boy. If he actually means that and isn't letting all that praise go to his head, then it truly might be over for the rest of the league. He seems to have a big head on those massive shoulders, and we really hope he stays humble in his pursuit of greatness. Wembanyama mentioned how he hadn't yet played in an NBA game, and he's absolutely right about that. The hype is only good as long as you're performing, and he's still got a long way from making it. He recognizes that he's not yet been drafted, so he's got to stay focused in order to achieve his goals. Improving every day isn't easy, especially when you're that good already. Victor's absolutely spot on in saying that it's not going to be easy to get better and stay consistent, but it's also refreshing to see someone as talented and good as Wembanyama not getting ahead of himself. Also, is the NBA ready for Wembanyama? We've all asked if Wembanyama's ready for the NBA, but is the league ready to host a talent like him? Purely on paper, the answer would be no. That's because we've never actually seen someone in the same mold as Wemby. For instance, let's take a step back. He's being hyped as the greatest ever prospect since LeBron, right? Was the league ready for LeBron? We'd say no. He took the world by storm, and he's not stopped since. Of course, though, over the years, we've seen players in the same mold as LeBron, but that's because he changed what was needed. The thing with Victor is pretty much the same, only much bigger. That's because he's something like a Kevin Durant crossed with a Rudy Gobert, and that means he's something like a Gen Z Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know? We don't know what he is, or how he'll do, but we're sure that if those two G League Ignite games were anything to go by, he's going to absolutely explode. The first match showcased how he can use his size and that lockdown mindset, at only 18, to not only score, but also deter players from even even attacking the paint. Then, we saw his unblockable jump shot, along with an all-around movement clinic which included transition sprints, pick and pops, step backs, you name it. In the second exhibition, we saw something way more complete than the first one. He dropped a point less at 36, but the damage was done inside the arc on drives, lobs, post fadeaways, and of course, the signature poster dunks. Not to mention, he's a league-altering talent. The thing about these hyped talents is that everyone expects them to change the legacy of the franchise that becomes lucky enough to pick them. We saw that with LeBron, we saw that with MJ, and we've seen that with many other fantastic players who changed the entire standing of such franchises. But Wembanyama isn't being called a franchise-altering talent. In fact, an NBA executive explained how the French teenager isn't going to change a franchise. Instead, he's already a league-altering talent. Don't know what we mean when we say that? Don't worry, we'll explain. So, we all know that Wembanyama is going to be up for grabs in the next NBA draft. Now, if he makes it to that point, everyone knows that he's going to be the #1 pick as well. Sorry, Scoot, hard luck on that one. And that's why the race for that #1 pick has already begun. The only problem is, you don't get the #1 pick for being successful, so NBA execs and GMs believe that franchises with a chance of landing Victor will definitely tank, and they'll tank hard. Yeah, imagine being so good that the NBA franchises are planning on losing games on purpose just to make the lottery and come out with the golden ticket to get Wembanyama. But as far as the teenager is concerned, he's not too happy with that. He says that he would never want to lose, but kiddo, that's hardly your concern. You just work on being better and better, and let the teams do their thinking. Lastly, Wembanyama's agent shuts the NBA scouts up. In light of all the hype generated by the French teenager, some NBA scouts called on Victor's agent to make him play lesser games in order to protect his health ahead of the NBA draft next year. We can understand where they're coming from, as injuries are very common to unique talents such as Wembanyama, but his agent explained that he's got no intentions of doing that. In fact, he added that even if he wanted Victor to play less, it wouldn't be possible because the French teenager wants to play as much as possible and wants to get better. Interesting. And it seems that nothing could go wrong for him right now. That's because he's already earned his first call-up with France for the World Cup qualifiers next month, and that will be his first chance to impress his nation on the big stage. He wanted to play more, and now he's gotten the chance to do it for his country. Doesn't get better than this. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Steph's comments about Wembanyama? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.